Pledge allegiance of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Here.
Reinhardt.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here. Here. Here. On the agenda, we go to the second page, we need to strike one section. Another than that, regular. I'll make the motion to keep the agenda as presented. Second. Yes, second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We had a chance to look at the minutes. Oh, and there's no correction.
Is one thing on those second page. The absent ones, it says rain, Commissioner Reinhardt. And,
The minutes with the change. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? General public comment.
How you doing? I'm coming up here again because it's still happening. We're still having,
Tell them where your name.
my name is Raymond Elliott. I live at 483, 481 North Florida Avenue. I have a couple homes there. I'm still having a problem with this. Now because we gravitated or, said something, Waste Management is now letting their trucks leak all over. I mean, everywhere you look. I just had, the state administrator there, Clare County put new drains in and all that to try to stop the pollution from running into our homes. And now we're doing it worse. How come we can't get the smell taken care of and we cannot get the waste trucks from leaking? Nasty stuff. I mean, horrible. Like I said, for that movie, Dark Waters, that stuff is everywhere. It's bad. I mean, come to the south end right now and look at the trails. How come we can't get help with this stuff? What is going on that our town doesn't realize that this is right next to our school? It is right next to our drinking water. And we cannot get help. I have asked the health department. I've talked to the EPA. And they are doing the same thing as that movie. It's not paying attention to what's going on because it's one person that's sick, not a whole town. But I look at your paper there and it says in Hayes Township alone, there's 650 people sick in Hayes Township all the time in just this month. That's not right. There's something wrong. And I just want to bring that to your attention and I appreciate your time.
Right, right. I mean, our only avenue is to go to the agencies, just.
But then you need to press on it, because this
We
isn't,
do.
I'm not joking, I'm not trying to threaten anybody, I don't want money, I don't want nothing, I just want to live in my home. Like the other day, I walked up to my garage and I couldn't even breathe in it, it was so bad. And I appreciate that,
And in the ultimate end, it's up to the agency.
but in the end, it is up to us as people in our town to take care of one another. Shouldn't it be that way? Isn't that why we're a community here? That we take care of each other? I think so. I mean, I'm not filing over it. It's been happening to me for 15 years. I've been through cancer. I'm going through it again. And I can't breathe in my home. I just want people to understand that if you can mark it down in that book, there's 650 people just in Hayes Township that are calling because they're sick. There's a reason why. And I live in Hayes Township and it is bad in my area. Look at the trucks that are leaking everywhere. I mean, it's leaking so much it runs down into the drains. How come we're not doing nothing? You don't drive through there at the south end of Harrison? You don't go that way? You don't see it?
Keep pushing.
I thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Any other public comment? Patient list, any comments on that? Administrator report.
Hey. House Bill 4525 to expand the drug court passed the House. This bill allows certain offenders to be admitted to a drug treatment court with the approval of the judge, the prosecutor, and any known victim. Currently, drug courts are limited to nonviolent offenders. This bill would expand the use of drug courts to include certain violent offenders, but only with the approval from the judge, the prosecutor, and consent of any victim. There is crucial legislation to promote court funding reform. It was concurred by the House and sent to the governor for signature. It's House Bill 5534. It would require the state court administrative office. Sorry, I'm cold. To complete data collection and turn over to the legislature by May 1st of 2026 for advancement towards implementing the 2018 Trial Court Funding Commission recommendations. If you would like to see that, I have a copy of that in my office. Basically, this is about the Michigan Supreme Court's decision that determines state law does not provide courts with the authority to impose costs upon criminal defendants to fund the day-to-day operations of courts. The Trial Court Funding Commission concluded that it is imperative to create a stable and consistent funding source for Michigan to reduce excessive dependence on the local government funding. The Revenue Sharing Trust Fund is still making a move. The governor did make a recommendation in her budget for revenue sharing, basically the same as past years with a 5% increase, 4% additional if all of the ARP funds were allocated, and then 2% set aside for law enforcement. The House subcommittee did recommend an 8% carve out of the state sales tax for the revenue sharing fund. That would be in addition to the regular revenue sharing that we receive. The Senate subcommittee recommended a 9.1% carve out of the state sales tax. So that's about $52.5 million increase to what the revenue sharing is now. And it's 20% over what this is now. The 17th, which is Friday, we will know more of what the numbers might look like. Animal Control is having a fundraiser Sunday, this Sunday, May 19th, at Tobacco Ranch from 1 to 5. Admission is $15 and includes a grilled lunch, and kids under 5 are free. I am currently looking on the fiscal year 25 budget. And it does look like our expenditures are a little bit more than what our revenue is for next year, but I am putting a lot of thought and effort into some possible changes. One of them, myself, Jeff, Dale, the sheriff, and undersheriff, and the jail administrator have met with Osceola County on the possible regionalizing of our jail. This would be a significant cost savings to Osceola County and create a stable revenue stream for Clare County. They are meeting next Tuesday to discuss this with their board and possibly vote on it. And they would like to have a start date of July 1st. The county administrator from Osceola County and I are working on an intergovernmental agreement, which we would bring to you prior to doing anything, of course. Been working with a few department heads on some restructure ideas. I feel very strongly that we can meet our financial goals through attrition if we take advantage of those opportunities and get creative on how we do business. I've asked a few department heads to not replace, a few positions and to really put some thought into restructuring and moving some duties around. And they are working on that, so I have a huge thanks to those departments, for entertaining my out-of-the-box thinking. I did leave the audit, the current audit on your spot here. Roxanne's gonna be here. At the committee of the whole meeting, you know, to discuss it. So it's a pretty good audit. We are currently at 56.18% expensed into the year, which at this time, we would generally be at 62.5% expensed. So holding steady, doing well with that. State of the county. And I would like to express our condolences to our corrections officer, Gerald Rideout. His wife Nicole passed away suddenly Sunday on Mother's Day. May 22nd, noon to 3 is visitation, and the services at 3 at Hindleston. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Public hearing. Arlene, you take the.
Make motion to approve the 10-year contract with Axon Justice Solutions for the purchase and maintenance of needed software.
Motion, we got support, we have any discussion?
I think I sent you a pretty good explanation in an email. You guys, if you need me to read it to you.
Just go over the highlights again, the purpose of the software and the benefits.
Well, I'll just read you what I wrote. Software maintenance program is very important and needed for the prosecutor's office. Not only will this save the county money, it will create greater efficiency and actually save hundreds of hours of work per year. The other option would be to purchase another server and associated equipment. We have gotten an initial cost of $145,000 and potentially $10,000 per year. And we would have to store all of the information. And then we would not have the efficiency component. I mean, Clare County is all about company software and data storage, companies storing the data, as opposed to us keeping the information if it's at all possible. It is less time, money, and potential technical issue. This contract with Axon is better for the county and better for the prosecutor's office, the sheriff's department, the city of Clare Police Department. It offers a service that's compatible with what we use at the sheriff's department, their cameras, and the city of Clare.
Breakdown, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's, which generally, I mean, for most programs, in some programs, we have softwares like $15,000 a year, this one's like 12,
It's averaging about 14,700.
and it's gonna save a lot of time.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Bungler. Yes. Hoagland.
Yes.
Pittsburgh. Yes. Majeski.
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Feinhardt.
Yes.
Gilmore.
Yes.
Ambergris.
Yes.
Pasco.
Yeah.
Carried.
Dave, you take the voting first for the motion?
Of course. Motion to approve the contract of community development, Axon with the ordinance, posting services.
Mr. Chairman, I would move we table this until after the committee of the whole meeting. I found some issues with some of this in here, and I'd like to check it out and discuss it at that meeting before we vote on it.
Okay. You had a second to table that motion?
I'll second.
Okay,
What are your concerns?
We'll discuss it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes.
Finance meeting minutes of 15/2024, in the amount of $52,499.55. And the minutes of April 29th, 2024, in the amount of $162,061.
Motion, yes, second. Roll call, please.
Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Jeffy.
Yes.
Amber Zider.
Yes.
Gilmore.
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Reinhardt.
Yes.
Hoagland.
Yes.
Howard. Yes. Haskell.
Yes.
Approve the expenditures for the month of April 2024, in the amount of $655,000. And now with the 7 cents general fund expenditure. So, $903,000.
And second, roll call, please.
Jeffy.
Yes.
Amber Zider.
Yes.
Gilmore.
Yes.
Bacon.
Yep.
Reinhardt.
Yes.
Hoagland.
Yeah.
Howard. Yes. Pittsburgh. Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Make a motion to approve the budget adjustments number 24-80 and budget adjustment number 24-88. In the amount of $77,913.49 and $334,878.39 respectively.
Second. Second, roll call, please.
Amber Zider.
Yes.
Hoagland.
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Jeffy. Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Reinhardt.
Yes.
Howard. Yes. Gilmore.
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes. George,
Registered deeds.
register your deed, please.
Okay, I move to approve the contract with Fiddler Technologies Incorporated without going out for bid for indexing services in the amount not to exceed $227,184 to be paid out of the Register's Authorization Fund. Automation, sorry.
Second. Motion has second, any discussion? Roll call.
Gilmore.
Yes.
Hoagland.
Yes.
Jeffy. Yes. Bacon.
Yes.
Amber Zider.
Yes.
Reinhardt.
Yes.
Howard. Yes. Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Yeah.
I move to approve the contract with Fiddler Technologies Incorporated without going out to bid for media conversion services in the amount of $32,104.43 to be paid out of the Registered Automation Fund.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Reinhardt.
Yes.
Gilmore.
Yes.
Amber Zider.
Yes.
Howard. Yes. Hoagland.
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Pittsburgh. Yes. Jeffy. Yes. Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, got anything for us?
You do, just call me David. I just wanted to let everyone know that all the filings are in for the August election. The deadline to file for candidates with political affiliation and the deadline to file proposals. We have 15 proposals on our ballot for August. Now, that's not on every ballot because townships are individual. We have an Isabella County renewal operating millage, which is just city of, a portion of city of Clare. Flagler Schools operating millage, which is a portion of Hamilton and Arthur. Clare School bonding issue, Farwell School sinking fund renewal. Clare County has 4 proposals, which is animal shelter, 911, senior services, Spongement. Arthur Township has a road renewal, Freeman Road renewal, Road renewal, Patton Fire, Hayes Fire, Reading Operating, and Summerfield Fire. There will be 15 proposals on ballot. I wanted to, I know I told you in February, I believe that I would, or March, I would bring you the totals of the early voting. I threw that together this week. I'm trying to program, so I'm trying to get that done and billing for February, for the February election. It cost $48,126.77. That's without confirming payroll with Jody, and just took out of the line item, so I'm not 100% on that, but that's pretty close. And I do want to throw in there that does not include $11,387.11 that Stacy Piaczek, my chief deputy, and I did not get paid for additional hours that we worked. I figured out what that would have been had we been an hourly employee and all the extra hours we put in. So that doesn't include that. And I'm gonna put something on your radar, something different. I got an email from my printing vendor, my ballot printing vendor. We do public logic and accuracy testing. We do it at the county, and every township does it. And I told you this before, this is testing our programming and our equipment to make sure it's accurate. And we test for every possible scenario that could happen to the ballot. Any mistake that the machine could read wrong, or if I programmed it wrong, we test for all of that in this testing. And I told you before that some counties hire that out. They hire their company to program the ballot, their company prints their ballots, and their company does the testing. In Clare County, I program the ballot. I do have a vendor print the test ballots. And then we test them at the county, my staff and I do, and then each township tests their own machines and ballots. Some counties pay their vendor to do all of that. We do all of that ourselves. I do that to reassure our citizens, myself, and the board that I can explain anything that happens with this election, because I know it inside and out. And I'm not having someone else do it, and I can't say, oops, that was a mistake they made, not me. If there's a mistake, it's going to be on me. We got an email from our vendor telling us, not from Secretary of State, they didn't notify us at all. Secretary of State is planning to use a single source vendor in the future for our testing, which means we're not in control of that anymore. We can't pick our own vendor to do it for us or do it ourselves. They won't do the physical testing, but the single source vendor will, I'll just read to you what the director of Bureau of Elections had to say about it. I jotted some notes down. He said it's going to be a single source supplier for more comprehensive and efficient way to design test decks. We call them like test decks and test charts. He said we already have a good testing in Michigan and already catch the most common things that can happen, but the more complicated things that are unlikely but not impossible, like votes for a candidate in one race were swapped with a candidate of another race. Again, unlikely. He says it's impossible to catch in a manual testing, like we do. The benefit of this single source supplier will be it can catch more things that are unlikely to happen. It's more efficient and saves more money. Helps with ballot proofing for Bureau of Elections by using an automated system. The model is developed by professors at U of M and the University of Chicago. And based on all of that, the Secretary of State put out a intent to negotiate an RFP to see who can do this. They didn't contact our vendors and ask them if they can do this testing. They just contacted these universities have them develop something and say, well, they're the only ones that can do it now, so we're going to go with a single source. We're gonna put it out to bid to see if anyone else can do it, even though we didn't tell them about it. So as you can see, most of the county clerks are really upset. I haven't heard anyone talk in favor of it. Some of the comments, the Department of Technology, your elections is not in charge of this. The Department of Technology Management and Budget reviews and determines what the right process will be for our elections. They've piloted it in a few places in Michigan, but Director Rader can't remember what counties that was. When they piloted this program. He's going to get that information for us. Test decks go from about 100. One county clerk said that it's gonna make our test decks go from about 100 to 500. We don't have time to do all the work that we have now. These professors are going to do the chart and we have to do the ballots ourselves. Director Brader said no, that is not how it's going to happen, so we're not quite sure how that's going to look. Our window is already limited for testing. None of us agreed with turning our data over to non-election accredited people. We have to give them our ballots. But we can't give anyone else our ballot. But we have to give these people that are not certified to touch an election, all our election related material. Secretary of State never consulted with county clerks. Michigan is rated in compliance a 9.71 out of 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being top, Michigan's testing is 9.71. We're questioning why they're picking on us to do this, change our testing. Why not use Rhode Island or Hawaii who tested 1? Why are they trying to change what we're doing? They're saying, Director Brader says it works. It catches almost everything, not everything. And we're good at it, but we're going, Secretary of State wants to change it. There's one director of elections that has been in his position for over 20 years. I think it was 27 years. He says it has never occurred in the history of our state what they're trying to test for, the crossing. So if it would be like someone voted for me and it gave credit to Dale. That's what they're testing for. We're in different races. And he has never seen it occur in the history of our state. Race one. Another county clerk says, we don't need a university professor pontificating what we, the experts, need to do. They don't do elections. They don't run elections. So I'm just putting this on your radar. We're very upset about it. We're fighting it as an association and individual clerks. But it's already in motion. We weren't asked about it. We weren't consulted about it. It's in motion. Director Brader said that it will not be mandatory for the 2024 election. When he asked when it will be mandatory, he said, we're not sure if it's going to be mandatory. But just putting it on your radar, if you want to reach out to Secretary of State, that would be helpful. I can get you the contact information and some of the verbiage if you would like it. So obviously I'm pretty upset about it. Any questions about any of that? And I want to thank you for being the 2 contracts for registering. For early voting, not the presidential election. Early voting was $48,126. That one election. Early voting.
Thank you. Okay.
Good morning. These are just your statutory reports for the cash investments and the fund balance. Those numbers are as of yesterday. I've also included my revenue trend sheet from 2009 to show you we have the audited final numbers, and then I also throw in the projected, which 2024, that one is just as of what is budgeted, so that is not actual numbers, just how we budgeted that right now. And you all know that's just a working document, that changes. So 2023, we ended, just under 4.9 million for our fund balance. Unrestricted, we were a little over 5, but we have a bit of a restricted fund balance, so 33% fund balance as a percent of expenses, which is great. I put on this chart some of the extra revenues that come in that aren't allocated to any expenditures. So for instance, some of the appropriations from the delinquent tax fund and the tax reversion fund. I also put the figures in for the revenue sharing final and the millage final. And also because how the jail works, just to show you that the housing that comes in for them to offset their expenses was 1.5 for 2023. And then the 2024 is just projected. It's only based on the budget that moves. It's just continuously moving as this is as of yesterday, which was 64% completion of the budget for the 2024. Anyone have any questions on that? If you do have any questions, feel free to stop by the office. Thank you.
Not a lot of questions. Yeah, good fun.
That's exciting. Be prepared because we have a MERS. A MERS liability we have to address. A meeting with them on Friday about it.
And to note that this year for 2024, we put in the remaining ARPA funds, so there are no more ARPA funds after this. That's the big thing to watch out for as well.
Which actually is gonna be, it was quite fortuitous that we did that because if the state budget goes through with the governor's recommendation of revenue sharing, we get credit and more money because we expended it. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, speaking of that too, we're being proactive with the combining of the jails.
We are,
I did sit on that meeting and I wanted to touch base on that. I feel because of our size of our facility and the fact we're losing inmates as much as we are, we would combine that. They're not real high security inmates from their county, but I feel would be a good thing. And it would bring, because if you look on January report, the jail revenue is projected to go down. And that's stuff we need to keep on top of, so we don't. Our fund balance doesn't. As those meetings go on, I feel that we will give regular updates on what's going on, so everybody be in the loop. First one was just to see if everybody would entertain it, their whole, and they're gonna check with their board too, it might not. They might not entertain it, wanna do something with that, but. Also during my time, I was gonna give anybody, if they had any questions on that. And the one to ask it, maybe we could answer a couple of them. The reason I say that is if we have the next meeting, it would be nice to get that information out to the commissioners. Beforehand, before we have to make a decision, because if they do this, they wanted that to happen in July, which does not give us a lot of meeting time between now and then to address that. So
If this goes through, will we have a capacity to do more for other counties?
probably not. I mean, we got 90 and they're anywhere between 50 and 80, so we have room for 200 max, so I would say probably not a lot.
I mean, potentially like, Gladman, if they have like 30, we could probably take them
But it'd
after.
be nice not to have to rely on the federal inmates that seem to be on a downward trend right now.
Have we communicated with Isabella County at all with their little dilemma they got going on over there?
We have not.
there are two other. I think or I guess it would be 4 other counties, but 2 other intergovernmental agreements between counties to share a jail. And I think Lori and is reaching out to see how that works and because of the expense of operating that. And if it all works out, maybe some potential revenue stream down the road for if they take their juvenile, they make theirs a juvenile detention, which there is a need for in the area. That if they have any revenue because we're sharing that, if we decide to share that, but we might just take the inmates also. It's certainly not a lot of answers right now.
We have the facility, we might as well be at full capacity.
I reached out to all the surrounding counties quite a few months ago, working with the jail administrator here, Ryan Dunn. And the only bite I got was Osceola County. And we've met several times. So.
But they really seem upbeat about doing it. They were worried that their sheriff and that their whatever jail administrator would not be for it, and they seemed to be pretty upbeat at the meeting we had, so. They're presenting it to their board this month.
Two of their board members were here with Jeff and Dale.
Which wasn't a lot, we didn't have a lot to put into it, just to listen, because that was the meeting between the people that know what it would take to do that, and talk about working out all the problems of transportation and that type of thing, logistics of the whole thing, and they seemed to be able to, they seemed to feel it could work.
Our jail administrator is a rock star, by the way. He did a great job, and
Yeah,
Brian Dunn, he did a great job.
we have any other questions on that? Except for if we find out, if we find anything out, keep everybody posted. And the only other thing I got, have they started spraying spongy moss yet?
They arrive tomorrow.
They arrived.
Actually, they'll arrive today and they'll start spraying tomorrow. They'll be declared municipal. Tank truck's been already dropped off and we've got to get it.
I see the leaves coming out and I have not had a call yet, so I'm curious if there's anything going on or if anybody needs, had any questions that we need to answer.
All the maps are on our website.
Right. That's all I got. Dale?
Yeah, if anybody's driving down 61, you notice that Greenwood Township's got a new message board. It's digital, you can put a bunch of new stuff on there and information for the public and Greenwood Township as well. Good addition, it's by far better than the type where you take the little letters and stick them up there and every good storm blows them all over the country. So that's a good addition to them. Greenwood's also looking at several roads to redo. I know the way working with them on it, so they're prioritizing some road improvements to propose. On the Lincoln Township side, they have a new ordinance enforcement officer. The old ordinance officer resigned, and Ken Logan is now the new ordinance enforcement in Lincoln Township. We're looking at possibly 2 new cell towers in Lincoln Township. So that's a good addition, seems how we've got just horrible service out there for cell phones, but that's gonna definitely help it. And then they're going on with the expo, which is Father's Day weekend. So again.
Really?
I have nothing to report. It's going through the meetings and everything's going great at all the meetings, so. Oh,
David?
Have a couple of things. I try to be quick. Yeah, we're working with them. So for Franklin Township, there's presentation by the road. And together at various PowerPoint, a lot of questions that the residents had. Overall, it's very informative. Franklin Township, looking at this as well. Only other thing for them was they were waiting to hear back on cases involving the Right to Farm Act. There have been some issues, some issues with, farm animals. For the airport board meeting, here, you know, it's changed. 5 now, so 5 o'clock. We're also looking at the airport, county manager. For information community action, there's a new HR director. And we are working to restructure the finance. Issues with the previous director that we're working to solve. Summerfield Township, as Lori mentioned, put their renewal for the fire village the last meeting. There's been a slight increase in that request. Then they also reviewed the improvement survey that they sent out for the last tax. There's quite a few people that responded. And, these are exciting changes to the recreation. The ambulance meeting happened and a very long and interesting conversation with MMR. MMR did agree to start giving us quarterly reports the 10th of each month. And that they are also having trouble locating the mutual aid numbers. When they call to ask for another service to go for them, we're unable to provide us with the numbers for that. Apparently they do not have the tracking portion of that. We're just the director for our one offered to have the county certified. And then we also found out that it is not just the northern outskirts of town that are having issues with a couple of the ambulance times. Apparently, the city of Clare uses police patrol cruisers to what I found was interesting. In Hamilton Township, they finally completed their changes to the master plan. Been a hard few months for the planning board. Turned out to be a more magnetic task than they expected. They're hoping to be done last fall. But now, May. In addition to that, Hamilton Township has started renting out their garage at City Pickleball Club. And they have had amazing community engagement. They have already made a significant percentage of their initial investment back on continue adding new additions to help ability for the climate. They also changed due to inflation the cemetery prices for digging of the burial plots and other things. More major ones that is like, you know. And then in Winterfield, they had some concerns about increase in ordinance violations, specifically like concerned, and we're going to be looking into how other countries have handled it. Specifically, it's recent history of the issue. And then they set their budget workshop dates. Their budget cycle is slightly different than ours. Theirs begins July 1st. So their first workshop is June 7th, and the second one is at June 19th. Those are both 5 o'clock. Then they had a discussion about the areas of the library. The Marion Library is forming a district, and they're looking townships around them to put money into the work the old digging. They're looking at having a permanent draft a potential ballot proposal for the election. But they haven't gone too far into it. Still in the early stages on that. That is everything I have. Does anyone have questions?
You already covered the spongy moths. So
Got the road project, yeah, David mentioned the terminal rehab, the proposal has been submitted to the county administrator and building department for final review and posting to see how much, how that's gonna work. The crack seal and the painting from MDOT, they notified us that, it's gonna be no county match. So the entire painting and cracks and we've asked them to provide that in writing. And, so we'll see if we can use any of that, because they're allocating it to $80,000 total for both projects. So I want to see if there's any ability for us to use what's left for other, for runway or the lights. The lights, Pontiac Airport is, replacing their analog lights with LED lights, and we've been fortunate to get their hand out. We received the first, shipment of 100 lights from them, and, we started installing them as soon as we had a plan. And I think the biggest challenge is going to be getting the wire from the trip where the hangars are and terminal building up. So we'll see that. Still on the airport, we received a Mayday call a week ago from an aircraft that was flying just south of Plains. And I talked to Marlene and Theron about there's some disconnects in how the reporting went and how it came from the DNR to our 911 and how we ultimately resolved the issue. The pilot was flying from Grand Rapids to West Rank that engine failed. And so there's just some disconnects. So I talked to Marlene to try to figure out how we address Mayday call when we don't know the location of the aircraft. And that poses a huge problem. Not on the cell phone. So it exposed some issues. We're going to have to do it. The last thing I'd like to bring up is that there's two Senate bills that have just been introduced down in Lansing, 857 and 858, that would potentially restrict concealed pistol license zones and the ability to have a concealed pistol license. So we'll take a look at that and keep you guys informed. That's all.
Thanks, Steve. George?
Both of my townships are doing well, except they do have concern with what the county is doing with EMS. Because currently both of my townships are extremely happy with the service they receive. And they hope we are not looking to put a ballot proposal.
Well, mine now, you can tell them we have nothing in the works.
Okay, well, I told them there was nothing in the works stuff.
And if at that meeting, they did even,
Next,
they said that even if we put money towards it, it would help. So I feel
okay,
there, until they work through these meetings and see what comes of it, there's no changes in it.
and Grand Township is currently putting in a new parking lot. That's the only major update. And I'm glad Dwayne's here. I'd like to talk to you after the meeting if I can. Our supervisor had some issues.
Jack?
Next Monday, I'll be going to the Northern Michigan MAC up to Roscommon. And I've been told there's gonna be some of those Senate and House bills that are being talked about down there. We're gonna be discussing them. One big one is gonna be the road funding issue. There's a proposal there to switch from the funding from gas tax to miles traveled. And they're going to be, as I understand it, and I'll know more about it after they talk about it there. It's going to be a GPS thing that will be installed in your vehicle to be able to track those miles. Some people that the pushback on it is the privacy issue, but gas tax revenue is swelling, and as electric vehicles and that come into place, there's going to be less dollars for road funding unless they do something different. So we'll see. I'll know more about it after that meeting, I'm sure. You know, there's other proposals out there that will be able to, after the meeting, be able to give you a little bit better update. On my townships, you know, Sheridan Township amazes me. The building permits that they are getting in month by month. There's a lot of building and electrical, and mechanical and that permit being done in Sheridan. Sheridan is definitely a building township. And so they have a large Amish community down there, and a lot of those permits are coming through from the Amish. But, we'll see, what's going to happen. Arthur Township, the proposal's in, the site's been approved, there's gonna be a pretty good sized solar farm. Kind of, on the edge of Arthur, kind of bleeding into Bell Township and Gladden. So we'll see when the work is going to be done. There's a lot of activity again going on statewide on the solar. So they're starting now around the Rosebush area, and some of those farms are gonna be pretty good size. That's it.
All right, thank you, Jack.
I have nothing to report.
Budget. Budget's good. Public comment. Closed session. No new business. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.